Good afternoon. My name is Oscar Gomez. I'm the assistant principal, which will be primarily dealing with student services. I want to focus on the registration process for this year. So all our registration process this year is going to be essentially online. Our district has now provided a link to complete the online registration packet, and I'll share that link on the next slide. But starting August 6th, which will be on Thursday, you will have the opportunity to begin the registration process. We're also doing on August 5th will be the start of our actual live registration with our counselors through Zoom meetings. So you'll meet with the counselors to review your classes. Zoom appointments have been sent out to seniors at this time, and we'll continue to send out the remaining Zoom meetings to all grade levels prior to their registration. So students, you could check your Google to review your emails for all registration information. Also on our main website under students, you'll have information pertaining to the actual Zoom connections and the appointment times. All appointment times will be in alpha. Also, we do have them placed by ID number in order for privacy, and you'll be able to see your registration times beginning on August 6th. Appointment time. We're going to pick up books and materials after the registration process. We do have them placed by ID number in order for privacy, and you'll be able to see your okay, so beginning on August 6th, all students will be able to pick up books and materials after the registration. So there's two components going on. One component is our students basically what we call traditional registration. So this will be also held beginning on August 6th. This is kind of all students. So what's going to be submitted on Thursday, August 6th, prior to students registering, or actually during the registration process? Um, Student enrollment forms, annual notification to parents, student agenda, lunch alternative income verification form, home language survey, and access for all learning initiative. So this link will become active on Thursday, August 6th at 8 a.m. So once again, this will be a very important link to start the registration process, particularly the paper registration component of it. So this link will become next slide on Thursday, August 6th at 8 a.m. As we move on to the online registration, this is an example of the actual window that you guys will be looking at. So there's two sides of this particular document once you get onto our district website. One will be for returning students, which will be on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see enrollment for new student enrollment. So these would be students that are coming outside of the El Monte Union High School District as brand new students. Any incoming eighth grader who will now be a ninth grader, those are considered returning students. So their information should be up to date. All ninth graders, make sure that you do have your credentials. If you have not picked up your Google credentials, please stop by anytime from 8 to 12 to Mountain View High School to pick up your credentials. And that's only for ninth grade students. Okay, counselor meetings are going to begin on August 6th. So August 6th, we're going to be doing counselor meetings from 7:30 to 4:30 p.m. August 6th will be seniors, and then August 7th will be juniors. August 10th will be sophomores, and August 11th will be freshmen. So each student will be meeting with their counselors virtually. What we do want to make sure is that when you do join the Zoom meeting, that most likely you're going to be put on a waiting room. So just wait patiently. Counselors will be probably approximately taking about 5 minutes per student to meet with all their students and make sure that class selection is appropriate for the grade level. Here's a sample of the counselor meetings. All this information is being sent through email, and it's also going to be provided on our website under the section under students. You'll see it on our main website, and there'll be a link to all the Zoom links and the meeting IDs and the time. So each counselor will have a unique Zoom link that each student will link up to and be able to see their counselors throughout the registration process. With the registration of classes, then we're going to move forward with the textbook and materials. We will be doing textbook distribution following the next day after students register. So for seniors, we're going to be doing textbook distribution on Friday, August 7th. Juniors will be on Monday, August 10th. Sophomores will be on Tuesday, August 11th, and freshmen will be on Wednesday, August 12th. So make sure that once you register and you complete all, not only your paper materials, but also complete your face-to-face with your counselors, your next step is to pick up your textbooks. Textbooks will be picked up from the Bobby Salcido Student Union parking lot, which is on Parkway Drive and Denholm. So make sure that when you do come on campus, that you're practicing social distancing, that you have face coverings, and we want to expedite the process as quickly as possible. So we also want to make sure that we minimize the crowds that come on campus during that time to keep everyone safe.
Okay, before you jump on, Marquez, I think there's a little bit of technical difficulties with the volume. I want to see maybe if we want to pause, see if Mr. Sanchez has any luck.
Okay. Are we okay?
Yeah, it looks like the other ones are muted, so it should be one voice. Go ahead and give it a try, Marquez.
All right. So our instructional day during the fall semester will be divided into 2 terms. Students will take 3 classes each term. The first term will be from August 18th through October 9th, through October 16th, which is 9 weeks, and that will cover periods 1, 2, and 3. And term 2 will be from October 19th through December 17th. That will be 8 weeks, and it will cover periods 4, 5, and 6. Next slide, please. So your school day will be divided into 3 periods, with a 10-minute break between periods 1 and 2, and a 40-minute lunch break between period 2 and 3. As you know, if you take a look at that schedule there, it really is your class is actually a little less minutes during class than you would for a normal school day, but you know, the way the instruction will depend on your teacher, and they're working hard right now, going through some training to make their instruction as effective as possible. Okay, next slide, please. So grades will be a little different than what we've been doing since March. You know, since we broke off last spring and through the summer, we gave students the option of having a credit, no credit. Beginning this school year, that will not be an option. So credit, no credit will not be an option for grading. Students, we're gonna return back to our traditional grades. So that means you're gonna have to take part in your classes, make sure that you do your work, and that you arrive on time, and just do what you need to do. But your traditional marks will be A, B, C, D, F, and or a no mark. A no mark is a grade that is given to students that have not had a significant amount of time in class. Each course will be worth 5 credits with each passing grade. So for example, if you take 3 classes during the first term and you pass them all, you'll earn 15 credits. So that's how that will work. So by the end of this first semester, which is 2 terms, you should have 30 credits earned. Okay.
All right, so I'll be going over our district's expectations for students' behavior. We apologize for the voice technical difficulties a little earlier. We are going to work on putting up this presentation on our website as well, so that in case you weren't able to understand all the previous information, all the information will be listed on the slides. And as Mr. Gomez said, much of the information that we discussed regarding orientation will be getting emailed to you shortly and will be on our school website. So stay tuned for that. Please keep checking your emails regularly so that you can stay up to date with that. So students, an important thing to remember is that even though this is going to be a year unlike all others in distance learning, our expectations for student behavior remain the same. So whether we are, on a Zoom meeting, in a Google Classroom, or in other platforms that our teachers use, we expect all students to model the appropriate positive behavior and create a safe, responsible, and respectful atmosphere for all involved. So I'm going to be going over some of the particulars when it comes to our district expectations for student behavior. But just know that, as it says there, our learning environment is still a classroom. And so our school behavior norms and our rules are to be followed just as they would be expected in the regular educational setting or classroom. Next slide. Our expectations basically come down to three big areas, and they're all pretty common sense and things we would expect of all students at all grade levels. The first is to be respectful. We want you to work as best you can to identify a distraction-free workspace and to just be mindful of the distractions that are going to be around you. We know that folks are dealing with a lot of different circumstances, and this can be a difficulty. You can always reach out to us as well to see what we can do to support you. But as best you can, we ask you to think about creating a space where you're going to be able to do work. You'll be able to tune in for each of these periods so that you can get the most out of your instructional day. We want you to constantly think before you post. It's important that you remember that the words you say, both verbally and in writing, are public, will be visible, and must be appropriate. We want you to make sure that you're always showing respectful comments and showing proper respect for all cultures, opinions, and viewpoints. We want you to be very mindful of the things that you record, the things that you share, the things that you post, that you email, because ultimately each of us is responsible for the words we put out there. And if we are doing something that is inappropriate, we will be subject to the same kind of student progressive discipline that we would have if we were in class here on campus. Make sure to listen to the directions that your teachers say as far as how they want you to participate, whether that means muting yourself in Google Meets or in different platforms. It's important that the information you display is responsible and appropriate, that we are not promoting anything that would be offensive, that would be considered hate speech, sexually explicit, or violent. It will not be tolerated. Bullying in any form, including cyberbullying, will not be tolerated. Sending discriminatory or harassing digital communications will not be tolerated. So guys, we know you guys know how to behave in a classroom. Please carry those same traditions on into the virtual classroom. Next. Our next one deals with being responsible. It's going to be very important that you take care of the materials that you've been provided. Each of us now has a Chromebook, and you're going to depend on that device for the next 4 years, some of you maybe in just your last year. It's very important that you look after this, that you take care of it, that you also take care of your information. You need to be present on time each day. For each of your classes, you're going to have, as Mr. Marquez showed you, a standard schedule. So you want to make sure that you are following the directions of your teachers so that you are present and that you are getting marked correctly for attendance. You want to make sure you have your materials ready for class, which will include the textbooks that we will be checking out this week. You want to make sure that when you are present in classrooms, that you are showing that you are attentive, that you are sitting up, that you are leaning in, asking questions, nodding, answering questions as far as a thumbs up or a pulls up or whatever they're advising you to do to show that you are following along. Also, lastly, it's important that you recognize that you're going to be visible to others. You want to make sure that, again, you are thinking before you log on, that you are dressed appropriately, following the same dress code you'd be following if you were at school. So please pretend you are coming to school every single day and approach it with that same awesome mentality online if you were here in person. Next. Finally, our last big expectation is that you be safe. We want everyone to be as safe as possible, and that includes also in the cyber world. It's very important that you are very protective of your personal information. You do not want to be posting things publicly, such as your passwords, your logins. You don't want to be speaking with strangers nor sharing your camera or personal information with people you do not trust. You don't want to be opening emails from people that you do not know. If something seems fishy or suspicious, or if someone is possibly sending you a virus, you want to make sure that you communicate with administration, with your counselors, with your teacher, to verify what's going on before you do something that could put you in harm's way. Remember that, like I said, whatever you put out there is public, and record of a chat can be saved. So whether it's a verbal communication, a written communication, it needs to follow all district technology use guidelines. Audio and video recording, this is a very important one. So whether you're using your cell phone cameras, recorders, or computer features, it is prohibited for you to record others unless you have the approval of everyone involved. So that includes filming or recording your teacher or their sessions without their approval. So again, make sure that you are following the normal rules you would in any class and that you are doing things the appropriate way. EMUHSD is committed to the maintenance of a safe and orderly learning environment. We recognize that this is going to be a challenging thing to get used to, but we hope that you will come with your best foot forward and that you'll show that same awesome model behavior, that's outstanding Viking attitude that we've seen here each day, and that you can now carry on into the virtual world. As we mentioned before, bullying, any kind of suspendable offenses are going to be treated in the same manner. So any student violating district or school-wide behavior expectations shall be subject to the appropriate disciplinary actions. So we know you guys are better than that. We know we're not going to have to deal with those kinds of issues. We want you guys to just come hungry, ready to learn, putting your best foot forward, and we look forward to a great year. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be unlike anything we've done before, but I think as long as we all try hard and give it our best attitude, we all will inspire greatness like we always do. Next slide. So again, in getting to know how to navigate this virtual world, we've come up with some resources and tech support for you. And this is going to come to you on behalf of our, one second, let's hold off on the video real quick. This is going to come to you on behalf with our ASB. So our ASB took some time to actually craft some of the most basic functions, things that you're going to be using daily, to help you out. So whether you're a freshman or a senior, some of these things, it's going to take a lot of practice to get used to them. And we wanted to just provide you with some support. So whether it's learning how to log into your student portal and find your classes, how to log into a Google Classroom, how to turn in assignments, how to check your grades on School Loop, how to email your teachers, or how to log into a Google Meet. We've come up with a couple of videos, nice short videos from your ASBers that will walk you through this process. So I'm going to show you just one, but just know we will also be sharing these on our website, on our social media, so that you can use these as a nice guide if you ever get stuck with some of the most routine devices you're going to have to use almost all the time, almost on a daily basis.
Hey guys, I'm your sophomore class president. Today I'm going to show you how to access your student portal. So once you're logged in, you're going to immediately be taken to here and you're going to click your account.
Can you hear it?
Once you get onto the Clever website, you are going to scroll down until you find EMUHSD student portal and you're going to click on it. You're going to click the blue one, which is sign with my Google account. And you're going to click your account again. So once you logged into the portal, you're going to be taken here, but you're going to click on the top where it says class schedule. And you'll have the link to your virtual Google Classroom. If you have any more questions, be sure to follow our Instagram at ASB and MVHS. Thank you for watching. Bye.
So I'd like to thank Anissa Robles, our sophomore class president, for that video. And again, you have other videos from different ASB members here to help you along the way. Here to just provide a helping hand from the student perspective. And like she said, you can always ask if you feel more comfortable asking some of your student leadership. You can follow them on Instagram and ask them questions on their account, or we can always reach out to us here at Mountain View. So just a couple tools for you guys, and we'll keep adding to this reserve so that things that come up all the time that you need help with, we're going to try to help that be as easy as possible for you. Next slide. You go to the next one, Miss. Just the next slide. Thank you.
Okay, with COVID-19, social and emotional support is going to be one of the biggest key components here at Mountain View High School for students. We want to rest assured that here at Mountain View High School and the El Monte Union High School District, we are going to be providing a lot of support through mental health referrals and also through our counseling staff. What we have provided for you guys is that each counselor, we have 4 counselors here on campus, Ms. Claudia Atran, who is responsible for the alphabet A through EQU, Ms. Brenda Padron, alphabet ER through LOP, Ms. Maria Palmieri, LOQ through RAMN, and Ms. Jeanette Rodriguez, RAMO through Z. We've also provided their emails so you could contact the counselors. We have 4 counselors here at Mountain View High School. They'll be working with your students. We will provide any type of referral to our community agencies where we have MOUs with, memos of understanding with these community agencies. So on the forefront, I know we're going to be providing a lot of social and emotional learning in the classrooms with our teachers during this return to school. So I just want to make sure that any type of mental health concerns, you address them directly with the counselors as soon as possible.
Okay, so I'm also going to provide a little bit of information on athletics. I know it's been a hot topic that a lot of students have been asking us about, whether we would have any chance of athletics. There has been a lot of information released recently, although you need to understand that this is especially one situation that is subject to change all the time. The dates that are listed here were based off of some of the CIF scheduling that we've seen, and should things get better, we hope that we'll be able to begin in this way. But just know that, especially as you see right now, there's a spike in all the COVID cases. And so it's very likely that these dates can be pushed back depending on our circumstances and on the recommendations of the Los Angeles County Department of Health. So for now, what you can know is that CIF decided earlier this month that all the fall sports, our typical fall sports across country, football and volleyball, would be played during the winter season. So typically starting in December. All our winter season sports, typically basketball, soccer, wrestling, have now been moved to the spring season. So basically there would be 2 seasons instead of 3 seasons. You would have, as we mentioned, the fall sports happening in the winter, and then the winter sports happening at the same time as the spring sports, so that in the spring you would have basketball, soccer, girls and boys tennis, softball, baseball, track and field, and wrestling. So I know that's a lot to take in, and again, these things can change from day to day. So just know, students, if you are interested in athletics, there are going to be some steps we'll need to take this year to make sure you're aware of the safety protocols in order to participate in something such as sports or performances. So in order to do so, there will be a mandatory Mountain View High School parent safety meeting. You will need to attend a team meeting. You will need to still provide physicals. You will need to fill out an athletic clearance packet, and you will need to complete waivers in order to be allowed to participate in either practice or in sports. So again, these are some tentative dates of when practices could potentially begin, but none of that can take place until all those things have been satisfied that I mentioned, and depending on the information we receive from our state and county regarding if it is safe to do so. So with sports, the best we can say is stay tuned. Again, be checking your emails. We will keep you updated as we get information.
Okay, so at this time, it's now time to ask some questions, and if we can answer them correctly, we will. If we don't know the answer, we'll go back and find the answers and get back to you guys. So we have any questions out there, Mr. PS?
Yes, we've had a few. And again, folks, this is on the YouTube link. If you go a little beneath it in the description, there is a link where you can submit a question, and we will try our best to answer it. Mr. Marquez, our first question comes from, I believe, one of our students that says, will I be able to take all 8 of my classes?
I think I can answer that. Unfortunately, that would be no. This particular session, we are in the traditional 7-period block here in Mountain View High School. Due to COVID-19 and distance learning, students will be able to take up to 6 courses. We will look at unique situations. There is what we call online opportunities after school for students for original credit. But most of those courses are not AP courses, if that's what students are looking for. But at this time, we are offering all 15 of our AP courses throughout the school year.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Next question.
Okay, our next question is, where can we access the registration documents on the school website?
So the documents will be, I believe, emailed to all the students, and where you will be given the link to actually go on and register. They could
Correct.
show those, right?
And just so everybody's clear, the link will not show up until August 6th, okay, which is Thursday, the first day of registration. So you'll see it on our front page of our website as well as the district website. But we will be sending emails through your Google emails for all information pertaining to registration.
Right, and Mr. Marquez, if you want to go back to the slide on online registration, we actually have the link was provided us earlier today for the enrollment page on the district.
Slide 4.
Fourth slide.
Next one.
Next slide. So that is the web link. You can go to www.emuhsd.org/enroll. It will just show you the information that you'll be filling out. And as Mr. Gomez showed you, there are 2 boxes that you can click. If you are a returning student, so someone that's already enrolled, or if you are a brand new student to the district and just barely enrolling, there'll be a section for you to fill in as well. So just keep an eye on it. The link is not live, as we mentioned. It will go live at 8 a.m. on Thursday morning.
Any other questions?
Next question is, does this information apply to special education? I think they're recalling in regards to the classes.
And go ahead, Mr. Gomez.
Yeah, this information pertains to all students attending Mountain View High School, whether they're general education, special education students.
Okay.
As far as special education students, just so you're aware, in our collaboration classes, those students usually traditionally take a study skills course to help them support them in the general education courses. That will continue, as well as we are providing what we call learning labs to support our students when they're not in a study skills class during the fall semester.
Right. Our next question is, what about the Union Bank?
As far as I know, the Union Bank is going to continue. I'm not sure in which way it's going to. I know that they've been in contact with me, and we're trying to find a way in which we can get the kids, the students that are going to be working with Union Bank, how they're going to be trained. Right now, we're trying to make it as safe as possible, so we're still working on that. But the Union Bank will continue, but more information is to follow.
Okay. Our next question is, what's going to happen if I still need to take another year of PE?
Well, the graduation requirement is still 20 credits. So students will have the opportunity to continue taking PE this year or next year. The graduation requirement is 2 years of physical education. So there is room in student schedules to take it this year or next year.
Okay. And PE is scheduled throughout our day as well, so that when you meet with your counselors, you guys are going to be going through your courses. They'll be helping you navigate and prioritize which courses you should be taking in these 2 terms. So the best information for probably that person is to make sure that when you talk with your counselor, you guys will go over your courses and they'll see which ones you can fit in. The next question is, may I still get a Wi-Fi device from the school?
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Gomez.
I was going to say, yeah, definitely. This is in distance learning. We've pretty much gave out most of our Wi-Fis. We have a few remaining, but we will be getting some more for those students who need internet access. I know we definitely have it for our 9th graders, but if we have any returning student that needs Wi-Fi, please contact us directly. You could also contact Frank Sanchez, who is our technician here, to let him know that you need a MiFi device.
Also, a reminder to all the MiFi users that if the MiFi device should be used for your schoolwork. If you decide to use it for a game or a movie, it's just going to kill the data on your MiFi. And when you need it for school, it's just going to slow it way down. So make sure that you're using it regularly. We want you to use it regularly, but just be mindful of how you're using it. Make sure that you're using it for your education.
Great. Our next question is, where do we collect our materials? Actually, there was a previous question. What do I do with the school book I already have? I think they're asking in regards to their summer school textbooks.
Great question. So we're going to encourage everybody to bring their textbooks when you're going to actually pick up your new textbooks for the fall. So we'll have a drop-off section for returning books, and then we'll have a section for essentially for new textbooks. So yeah, make sure you bring all your textbooks on the day that you're scheduled to pick up your new textbooks.
And that includes any textbooks that they might have not turned in during the spring, correct?
Correct. All textbooks.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is, where do we collect our materials? I'm guessing on textbook distribution.
Yeah, so we're going to be coming in and basically next to the Bobby Salcido Student Union and what we call the stadium, next to the stadium parking lot on Parkway and Denholm, next to Viking Stadium.
And so what we'll do, students, before I forget, is before you get off your car, we're going to be doing a COVID screening. So checking your temperature, making sure that you're at a safe temperature to get off your car. And we want to make sure that you're healthy and you can get off and pick up your books. In the event that you come up with a high temperature or you've been sick, we ask that you not come, and we ask that you come another day. We'll make different arrangements for you.
Correct. And the other important thing with that, students, is that you can't come to pick up your textbooks as well if you haven't completed the first 2 steps of the registration process. So by the time it's your textbook day, you want to make sure that you have completed the online form and turned in the information that you need, and that you have also had your meeting with your counselor. We won't be able to distribute your books if we haven't confirmed which classes you're taking. So there's an order to it. And the seniors, your day will be a little bit more hectic because you'll actually have your online link and your textbooks and your counselor meeting on the same day. But just go ahead and try to complete both as you can. Keep an eye on your emails once again so that you can see when your appointment time is with your counselor.
And any seniors listening, we just sent an email out today, just right now, to make sure that you guys should have got it. So all 12th graders should have their appointment times. And there's also on our main website under students, you'll see the appointment times by ID number. And the ID numbers are sorted by alphabet.
Great. Our next question is also a good one. It's where do we get our class schedule?
Great. The next component is essentially all students should now be using what we call the MVHS student portal. So the same way you got your schedules during summer school, you'll also have your schedules emailed to you and sent home. But now we have a new tool known as the portal.emuhsd.org, which will allow students to access their classes and see their schedule for the fall semester. So it's portal/emuhsdportal.org.
And it's actually one of our videos that we'll have up for you guys. It'll probably be one of the first ones we post. So by logging onto your portal, you'll see which of your classes you're enrolled in, and it also has a link to your Google Classrooms. Our next question is, will this information be translated into Spanish for parents who don't understand English?
Well, as I mentioned before, it was being translated. It wasn't working. So it was supposed to be translated as we were talking. I understand that it was not working. So I apologize to that. What we'll do is if we have another form, we'll make sure that it's up and running. And we'll see what we can do in order to get it translated. We'll see. We'll try to do.
And as, according to our district as well, the online registration process, when you click on the links for your, whether it's your immunization updates or your enrollment information, your emergency contacts, those forms will be translated in different languages. So you do have the opportunity to get some support there with those forms. So you should be able to click on hopefully a translated version. Our next question is, will there be any paperwork to fill out for registration, or will it all be online?
All the registration materials will be online. Notice.
Yeah, everything will be online, but this is pertaining more to the 12th grade students. There is a document that we're going to be giving you out called the Cal Grant Verification Form. Cal Grant Verification Form needs to be submitted back to the school as soon as possible. So you will be getting that form when you pick up your textbook. Once we ensure that you've done all your registration components, you'll get what we call the Cal Grant Verification Form. And this form is very important for all California residents for financial aid here in the state of California as you guys start looking at post-secondary opportunities for 12th grade students, class of 2021.
Another question is, when school starts, what website do we go on to check what classes we have? I believe you kind of answered that. It would be the portal, correct?
Correct. And that access, that information is also on our website. So it is portal.emuhsd.org. Okay.
Our next question is in regards to TPA. What will happen with TPA? I assume the question is more in regards to being able to going off campus to the elementary schools and providing tutoring.
Correct. So, this particular year, because of COVID and everybody going to distance learning, at least in the fall semester, TPA students will be enrolled in their CT courses and their other cohort classes, part of the TPA Academy. The only difference is, yes, the tutoring will not be taking place with their community partners at La Primaria Elementary, so and Payne Elementary. So unfortunately for this year, due to distance learning and our community partners also being on distance learning, all the learning will be done in-house here for the Teacher Preparation Academy. But we do have Ms. Minnick and Ms. Boutte returning to teach those intermediate and advanced education courses.
Next question is there anything important for freshmen or incoming ninth graders to know?
Yes, the most important thing for all freshmen is credentials. Have you picked up your Google credentials? We still have a handful of students who are ninth grade students who have not picked up their Google credential or their Google Chromebook. So these are individuals that we definitely want to make sure that they get their Chromebooks as soon as possible in the next couple days prior to the start of registration. So any ninth graders listening, if you have not picked up your Google Classroom, your Google credentials or your Chromebook, we need you guys to come on campus between the hours of 8 and 12 o'clock to be able to provide you with a Chromebook. Okay. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do that during the registration process. So let's, any ninth graders out there, let's try to get you your Chromebooks before registration starts on Thursday.
Right, and I know that a question that we've gotten often is if you had a device that was given to you during middle school, can you just use that device or should you come get the Chromebook? Obviously, we are going to recommend that you come onto campus and get the Chromebook that has been assigned to you because it comes fully loaded with a lot of the applications that you're going to use on the daily with your classrooms. We don't know information regarding what's going to happen with the middle school Chromebooks or devices you've received. You'll probably get that information from your middle schools. But for our purposes here at Mountain View, you definitely want to stop by and get your Chromebook that's been signed for you. It's brand new. It's the state-of-the-art Chromebook for the freshmen. And it's going to have a lot of the important applications, logins, things that you're going to use all the time. So it's to your benefit to come by and pick this one up, even if you already have another device at home. Next question is, I guess, in regard to playing sports. If I am 18 and still in high school, may I still play sports? For everyone who'd like to play sports, like I mentioned, it's going to really come down to the guidelines we receive from our county and state, when we are allowed to play sports, if we will be allowed to play certain sports, and when will it be safe to actually begin conducting conditioning, practicing, all those things. It's going to require you to fill out an athletic packet, and we are currently working on a digital version of that so that it won't have to be a paper form. Hopefully it'll be an online registration process as well for participating in sports. So stay tuned. We are working on that as a district, and we hope to have that option out very soon. And like I said, we'll have to go through a couple different hoops before we know which sports will be available. The best thing you can do is make sure that your physicals are up to date, that you have your information, your medical insurance card, all those forms, because we're going to need them when we get around to having our safety meetings, our team meetings, and to getting cleared so that you could participate in any sport.
And Mr. Palmas Racho, just a reminder to all students, if you need to get any information updated, because many times we send information to all students, but we get a good number of returns saying that we weren't able to reach the student because we didn't have the correct information. So if you're not getting information, or if you need to update your phone number or your parents' emails or any of that, or your address, be sure to have someone call our attendance office here at Mountain View so that we could update it, so that we can make sure that you're getting all the information that you need.
Okay, our next question is in regards to senior portraits. Will seniors get to take senior portraits? I think that's something we definitely would like to schedule, like we do every year. It hasn't been scheduled at this time because, again, we want to make sure that we are following all guidelines. We're trying to really minimize the amount of contact that students have to come onto campus at this time. That's why you're seeing the online registrations. That's why you're seeing drive-through processes for picking up materials and whatnot. So once we feel it's a little safer and we get a little bit more clearance, I believe we'll go ahead with scheduling those kinds of portraits. When you do come to registration to pick up your textbooks, we will be taking your ID photos. So you will at least be taking your photos. Be prepared for that on the day that you're set to pick up your textbooks. We won't be printing out the ID cards at this time. Again, we don't want to keep you in lines. We want you to move as quickly as possible through this process so that you guys can get back into your cars and get home safely. But I will definitely keep an eye on senior portraits. We do intend to do them for you all. We'll just have to see when it is the best date to do so for you all. Our next question is, what if we have less than 6 classes? If we are taking 5 classes, will we take 3 classes for this term and 2 classes for the next? This is probably a question probably from an upperclassman.
Yeah, fresh or upperclassmen still have the flexibility of having a 5-period day, so it could be a combination of 2 classes. Well, they have to have a minimum of 3 classes. Actually, no, 2 classes per session. Okay, so you could have 2 and 3. If only 5 classes are remaining in your schedule, you could have the option to, depending on how your counselor schedules you, you'll either have 2 classes in the fall semester and then 3 classes in the spring semester.
You guys all have to remember that we're hoping that everything improves so that this is the only semester that we have to do this. So just a reminder, just follow those safety protocols. Make sure you're wearing your face coverings, and you're following all those safety measures, so that this is the only semester that we do this.
Our next question is, I guess, in regards to the performing arts, what will happen with classes like band or choir?
So those classes will continue being on the master schedule. They will be in a distance learning mode. Be very different, but they will be taking place here at Mountain View High School. All our performing art classes are still scheduled. You'll see on the master schedule, we have dance production, we have band, senior band. We're still going to continue offering IO choir, glee, our intro to theater courses. So all these classes will continue to be offered here at Mountain View High School for this fall semester.
Our next question is, if I borrowed a Chromebook because I had to get mine fixed, should I still keep using that?
Go ahead, Oscar.
Yeah, we could once we start school, we could check with Mr. Frank Sanchez to see the status of your Chromebook, whether it's being repaired or has been repaired, or whether or not that loaner will be your permanent issue. So once we start a school, we could contact Frank Sanchez and we could provide that information for him regarding the status of your Chromebook. But all students will always have a Chromebook, so we want to make sure that all students have access to Chromebooks.
And also, Mr. Gomez, any student who did turn in a Chromebook to get repaired, they'll be getting an email from Mr. Sanchez informing them that it's ready, and then they can pick it up.
Perfect.
Okay, our next question is, what if you're a new incoming senior and don't have a Chromebook?
Okay, so same process. We will be issuing you a new Chromebook, any new student. So during the registration process, we'll have to get that information of that student and then be able to provide you with the Chromebook.
Our next question is, if I missed something earlier from the presentation, is there a way I can see this information? I think we spoke that our goal is to be able to post this presentation for you all. This video recording will be saved, and our hope is to have it up on our website as well as a resource for you to come back to. So our goal will be to again, like I said, be able to post the presentation as well as this video recording, so that in case you had friends or family members who didn't get to tune in today, that they could come back to it and also receive this information.
And also, Mr. PS, is if everything goes well and students like this kind of forum, we'd be happy to have another one for you guys later.
Mm-hmm. Our next question, are seniors going to have a prom? A lot of this is like Mr. Marquez said. We hope that we will have a chance to come back to school if everyone starts following these guidelines and practices social distancing, stays home, wears a mask, that we will reach a point where we'll be safe enough to come back and host these events like we normally do. We do have a prom date scheduled as of now. It is booked at this time. But again, this is all going to be dependent on our situation, and if our conditions can get better, we want to keep you guys safe. We would not host a prom if we didn't feel it was the safe thing to do for you all. So for now, we hold on hope that we will be able to get there. But we all got to do our part to make sure that we decrease these numbers so that it's safe for us to do something like prom.
So pass the word, right? Pass that word. Stay safe.
Our next question is, are electives still going to apply to freshmen? Again, I think Mr. Gomez had to step out for a second, but just to let you know that when you meet with your counselor, that's going to be the best time for you to go over your courses. So they'll be able to walk you through the classes that you need to take, prioritizing which ones are the most essential at this time. Like we said, you'll be taking just 3 for the first 9 weeks and then 3 in the second 8 weeks. So meeting with your counselor is really going to help you determine which courses. If you can take an elective that doesn't fit into your schedule for the fall semester, like Mr. Marquez said, we hope that things will get better, and we come back for the spring semester, that we might have be able to go back to our normal schedule. All of that will just have to depend on our situation and if things improve. Okay. Our next question is, I guess, what would take place in second semester? Would second semester be any different? Mr. Marquez, I'm sure that goes back to just we're going to be reevaluating. The district's going to be reevaluating every term whether we continue in this kind of format or if it's going to change to a hybrid or something else. Correct?
Yeah. So for example, if everyone followed the rules and they were wearing their face mask, then theoretically we can go into a hybrid situation going into the last 8 weeks. So it's all dependent on how it's going on out in our communities, how people are following those rules, and if everything goes well, then we'll have a hybrid schedule, and if not, then we'll stay in distance learning. So it's just dependent on how all of us are behaving, not just you guys, but your family and friends and everyone else.
Yes. Our next question, I guess, is sports related. What is going to happen with football? Again, like some of the information we shared, there's a tentative plan that football has been moved to the winter season. So there won't be any fall sports as it has been in the past. At best, football could be played in the winter season starting in December. But again, all that's going to be very subject to the conditions, to the guidelines we receive from the state, from the county. If we are able to begin conditioning, if we are able to begin practicing, we will let you guys know. And like we said, we will have a meeting, both a complete parent meeting, safety meeting, and a team meeting for the football team, for those who are interested, to basically go over what would be required if you wanted to play that sport, if it's possible. Our next question is, are we having a virtual welcome back rally? The ASB is hard at work right now as we speak. They're in their ASB camp, trying to plan different fun, spirited activities for the campus. We are going to reach out to as many of our clubs and see if we could also hold virtual sessions for their activities as well. Activities are going to look very different. A virtual welcome back rally could very well be. It's going to take a lot of creativity to basically see how we can plan some of these events and make them in a way that you guys would enjoy. So we will definitely take a look at it. We're going to try to do what we can to still keep our spirit alive and keep all the fun activities you've come to know and love. But we're going to have to keep taking these things one event at a time to see what is possible and what we can provide for you all. Our next question is, okay. If we can't take 7 classes this year, does that mean we have to take 7 classes next year?
Not necessarily. Here at Mountain View High School, the 7th class period essentially gives Mountain View students more credits. Traditionally, most students in the El Monte Union High School District take 30 units per semester, which is 6 classes. Here at Mountain View, most students take 35 credits per semester. Most students that graduate from Mountain View High School graduate with more than the minimum requirement of 220 credits. So as long as students are taking 6 courses, they should meet the threshold of meeting the graduation requirement of 220 credits.
Our next question is regarding to detention. How can we serve detention now?
At this point right now, we will be putting detention on hold like we did last semester. Same thing with Saturday schools. We'll be working with our district and our child welfare and attendance coordinator to look at essentially how we could recoup some of what we call ADA for those students who have high absences and some Saturday school detentions or regular detentions. So at this time right now, all detention is on hold due to distance learning. But we do want to make sure that once distance learning starts up, classes will start at certain times and that students are engaged and are on time during those class hours.
Okay. Our next question is, do all grades have to take ethnic studies?
No, so going back to ethnic studies, ethnic studies is a brand new graduation for the class of 2024. All other students need to take health as a graduation requirement, but beginning with the class of 2024, which is this current freshman group, they're the only class that has to take ethnic studies as a graduation requirement, and the classes that will follow after them.
Next is, how do I sign into this school year? That question is probably, I'm guessing, in regards to maybe how do I sign into my classes? So there's a lot of different applications that we've been working on since the spring to help provide this distance learning. And you're going to be introduced to a lot of them during the first week of school when you meet with your classes. Those of you who have done summer school have a little bit more experience now through this process. But things such as Google Classroom, your student portal, School Loop, these are all going to be very important to learn and know, so that's how we basically are going to do school this year. Each of your classes will have a Google Classroom that you'll need to be logged into each day. And that's where you're going to be getting your assignments and will you be turning in assignments, logging into School Loop to check your progress, your grades, things that you might have missed, logging into your portal so that you know which classes you're a part of, logging into Google Meets or Zoom sessions if that's what your teacher chooses to use when they do live instruction. There's going to be a couple different apps that you're going to need to learn. And again, we have some different tutorials. Some of you have seen some great trainings that our librarians conducted. We have some of the ASB trainings that I mentioned that we have on this presentation that we'll share with you. And just know that you'll probably go over the same amount of information. It might seem a little repetitive in the beginning when you start classes, but it's because we want you to get really confident with knowing how to log into these different applications that you're going to use for your learning, at least during this first 9 weeks. Okay. Next question is, can you elaborate on the daily classes our students will need to attend virtually?
So you'll need to attend. You'll be getting your schedule of 6 classes on there. But remember, you'll only need to attend the first 3. It's important, as I believe Mr. Palmas-Rocha indicated earlier, you need to make sure that you're in class every day and on time. This is totally different than what it was during the spring, where basically there wasn't whatever grade you ended on March 13th, that's the grade you received, or you can get a higher grade. Now, part of your grade will be all on effort on what you're doing and how you're checking in every day. Are you doing your assignments? So it's just important that you go to class every day.
And just so students know, because this is going to be a lot different than students. You guys are used to, those who are returning students, you're used to the block schedule. Unfortunately, due to distance learning, this will not be a block schedule. So the way you're going to see it on your schedule, it's going to be periods 1 through 6. Periods 1, 2, and 3 will be fall session 1. Periods 4, 5, and 6 will be fall session 2. Okay, so periods 1, 2, and 3, fall session 1. Periods 4, 5, and 6, fall session 2. So your first 3 periods will be your first session, which will be the first 9 weeks. And then the fall 2 will be your second set of courses, which will be the next 9 weeks to make it an 18-week semester.
Yeah, and I think Marquez showed a graphic of the tentative schedule. As we get a little closer, the district will still give us a little bit more clarity as far as the starting times. but that gives you a basic understanding of what our daily schedule will look like. Like we mentioned, it is going to be very different from even the spring when we had different schedules and different meeting times. What you will know is that there'll be a structured day so that you know exactly when first period starts, when second period starts, when there's the lunch period, when you have your third period. And that's gonna take place on the daily so that you're going to those same 3 classes every single day, Monday through Friday, for the first 9 weeks. And then, like they said, afterwards, we will evaluate. If we are continuing into distance learning, then the same schedule will apply, but instead of periods 1, 2, 3, it'll be 4, 5, 6. And when you pick up your textbooks, for instance, we will be beginning with the textbooks for your first 3 periods, periods 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Our next question is, will there still be wrestling? Yes, wrestling is one of the sports that is also on the docket to be potentially played. Like we mentioned, the sports were shifted. So wrestling is actually going to be taking place in the spring season. So again, we hope that everybody stays safe. We hope that everybody's going to follow the distancing so that we can start that. It would be one of the last sports that would be able to start conditioning. But again, that's all going to be subject to our conditions and our guidelines from the state and county about when it is safe for you guys to begin doing such things such as workouts and conditioning. And I think we just have a couple more. The next one is actually more of an announcement for our students. PrEP, our after-school support program, also wants to let you know that PrEP will be available for our students for virtual tutoring. Just like they were offering services when we were all in session after school, and they helped us a great deal during the spring semester. We really thank PrEP for all their assistance. PrEP is going to continue to partner with us this year to provide tutoring. For our parents, it's completely free, and we will be working them into our schedule as well. So where we have periods available for students to get additional support interventions, like possibly the last period of the day, we're going to work with PrEP so that we can give you guys as much extra support, whether that means tutoring in any subject area and things of that nature. So thank you, PrEP, for that announcement. PrEP will be sending emails to students and teachers soon about their services. Couple more questions we have. How's the schedule going to work with AP classes?
So AP classes, the schedule will be the same. There'll be 9-week courses for AP courses. So either you'll have an AP course session 1 or session 2, which will cover the fall material for AP. That's going to be our biggest challenge with AP courses. Traditionally, you would take a AP fall semester in 18 weeks. The pace is going to be a little more accelerated this year with taking an AP course with 9 weeks of instruction. So we want to make sure that you're ready for those AP examinations come spring semester. Every student that's in an AP course, everything's done online as well for registration. So I'll be working with your teachers on the first week of school to register students for AP courses. There'll be a unique AP join code that teachers will have in order to get all the materials that come through College Board. Good thing is the College Board has begun to adapt also due to COVID-19 and have provided a lot of resources for students and teachers to kind of work through COVID-19 and have the resources available for AP students. College Board and the AP Central are constantly being updated. So we will provide as much support as possible to all our AP students. The one difficult component is those students who took multiple APs. Some of you guys took APs during 7th period. We did have to move some of those AP courses to the 6th period day, which might cause some conflict between AP courses, but we try to do our best with the master schedule to make sure that we limited those conflicts.
Another next question is about textbook pickup. When do we come to pick up our textbooks? And I know we kind of talked about it, but there is a particular day for each grade level, and that's what you're going to want to follow. Mr. Marquez, if you want to bring up that schedule again. I believe it's step 3 under registration. So I believe we had a chart that has the day for each grade level. There it is. It's slide 8.
Slide 8.
Okay. So this right here shows you the date for your day to come pick up your books. So seniors, your day would be August 7th. That's Friday, this Friday. Okay. Juniors, your day would be on Monday. Sophomores, your day is Tuesday. And freshmen, your day would be next Wednesday, August 12th. But again, you can't pick up textbooks if you haven't completed the first 2 steps of your registration. So make sure that on Thursday, when the link becomes live for you to fill out your online form, that you do that first. That you then make sure that you attend your counselor meetings so that you can confirm all the classes you're going to be taking. And then the following day would be the day that you come in, because now we'll know which classes you are scheduled for so that we can give you the proper books. There's a question on the instructional schedule. What does it mean by collaboration and professional development?
Okay, so that is the time. It's coming up. You'll see that collaboration and professional development. That is the time in which teachers will be working together, either in planning, instruction, or they'll be going through professional development, because all this is all so new. You know, our teachers need that support as well. So that's the plan, is that they come in at 7:45, and we go through some activities that will help them improve their instruction, and so that they're ready to go by 9 with you guys. At the end of the day, they'll have their conference period, which means if you want to meet with them and talk with them online, that will be your opportunity to do that. But in regards to the first part, collaboration and professional development, that's about teacher training and teachers working together. Okay. Next question.
And I think we might be to our next question was about senior portraits. When will they take place? We kind of talked about this a little earlier. They have yet to be scheduled for this year. Again, we are going to wait on the proper guidelines from our district about when it's safer to actually have more students come onto campus. At this time, we're really just limiting folks coming onto campus to very quick drive-through pickups. So at this time, we are not scheduling senior portraits to happen right now, as we normally would very early on in the year. But we're going to hope that as the conditions get a little bit better and it appears a little safer to have students coming onto campus to sit down for a senior portrait, we'll go ahead and schedule that. So just stay tuned. We do plan on having senior portraits. We just won't do them at the very beginning of the year. What time do we have to pick up our textbooks is the next question. So we will, in addition to you receiving an email regarding what time you will be meeting with your counselors, we will also be sending out a schedule for each of the textbook pickup days. It will be by last name. So just like how we checked out Chromebooks, just how you check back in books at the end of the year, it's going to be very similar. We're going to try to break it up so that we can stagger you guys throughout the day. We really want to avoid large crowds. We don't want to have you guys waiting in large lines. So please keep track of the time when you have to come onto the campus. You'll be receiving that in the email. We'll try to post this information as well on our social media and our website so that you know at what time you should be coming onto the campus. But as you know, typically the early morning sessions will be for those with last names beginning with the top of the alphabet and then just going from throughout the day, probably from 8 a.m. all the way until 2:30 p.m. So those are the days and times for when you'll be picking up your textbooks. Okay. And our last question, I believe we already answered as well, was is TPA still going to be able to tutor or will they be able to tutor virtually?
Well, that's a great question. And that will be probably answered during the school year with Ms. Minnick and Ms. Boutte. At this point, though, if it's deemed safe to tutor kids, then we'll try to do that. But at this point in time, it's kind of wait and see where we're at.
All right, and I believe that's all our questions. We thank you guys all for your participation. Thank you for submitting questions. Again, we will try to keep up all these resources as well for those who might have missed earlier portions of the meeting, so that you could always refer back to them.
And remember to stay safe. And also thank you for logging in, and have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.